A couple of years ago, at about a little earlier than this, on this day, the day of the shortlist, I got a phone call about 9:30 in the morning saying, "Congratulations, you're going to the Giller." And I said, "Well, how do you know that? They're not. Then the announcement isn't for another hour or so." "Oh, there's been a leak." I said, "Well, I don't think so. That never happened before." "Well, it's out in there's something on the wire from Winnipeg." Well, I said, "You better send me the link." So the link came, and I read it through a little bit more carefully than my informant, only to find out it was some rehash about 4 days old of speculation about who might be on the short list. And I took it as a very bad omen, sign of bad things to come. Fortunately, it wasn't a bad omen. It was a good omen, which is probably one of the reasons why I've been asked to stand here today and to do the honor of shepherding a group of judges and distinguished people through the process of revealing the 2011 shortlist for the Scotiabank Giller Prize. It has been an arduous process. As Jan mentioned, the three judges have plowed through 143 books. I'm positive they read every single word of every single book, which that would probably, if you take the average length of a book to be 100,000 words or so, that's like 14 plus million words they all read this summer. So I think they deserve a certain round of applause for that. I think that there are, and I can really identify with the 16 people who have come out of that crop of 143 who are sitting around various parts of the country. Their publishers, their agents, their mothers and fathers and friends, wondering if they made that magical short list, which puts them that one step closer to that magical prize. The Giller Prize does a lot of things for the winner. I would say the least of which is makes the winner $50,000 richer, but what it does is it takes a good book and makes it a successful book. And anyone who has written or published a book knows that there's a powerful dynamic in that simple metamorphosis to take a good book and make it a successful book. The Giller, Scotiabank Giller Prize puts a book and an author in a spotlight that most books and authors tend to grow in, and that's been great for a relatively small country and a culture that competes, a part of the national culture that competes with all the other aspects of culture, TV and radio and pop music and movies. And one of the things I've learned traveling around in the 2 years since I won the prize is the depth and the breadth of Canada's book culture. It's huge. I often, because I'm a journalist and politically conscious, I often wondered what would happen if we could somehow connect up this huge confederation of smart, dedicated, thoughtful people who are in book clubs and who, to a large extent, determine what they read according to what they know about the annual crop of prizes. And of course, foremost among these is the Giller Prize. And I'm not going to spend any more time talking about it. I would like to introduce someone who needs no introduction, to coin a cliche, the man who founded the Giller Prize. Jack Rabinovich had a lot of choices. He, what to do with his business success. And I think we all, and the whole country, and the culture of Canada is a lot richer because of the particular passion that he chose to indulge in the memory of his late wife, Doris Giller, and also because of his long association with that rich literary tradition of Montreal, and a lot of friends who were close to it and who I'm sure twisted his arm a bit. And again, everybody knows Jack Rabinovich, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot more time talking about it. I'm going to let him talk for himself. Jack, would you please come up?
It's hard to see you all, but welcome anyway. Thank you very, very much, Lyndon, for that fine introduction. First of all, I'd like to thank the jury who are here today, Howard Norman, Andrew O'Hagan, and Annabelle Lyon. As Lyndon pointed out, they read 143 books, which is quite amazing. I'd also like to thank our partners, Scotiabank. We have a representative here, Duncan Hannay, and the CBC, and we have the Executive Vice President, CBC, Kirsten Stewart here, who will be addressing you later. I think it's strange here. This is the 18th year of the Giller Prize, and when we started, as I pointed out to somebody, the first press conference we gave out a letter opener that looked like a dagger. And some journalist remarked that it's a strange gift to give out to a Canadian literary crowd. I'd also like to thank several other people who have been very, very involved in making this happen. Ilana Rabinovich, who was somewhere around here, who's done a tremendous job of coordinating everything. June Dickinson. June Dickinson and Tracy Turriff. I'd also like to sort of highlight one of the comments that the jury made during the long list, and I think it applies to the long list, and even more important, it applies to the shortlist that is going to be announced further. Each title, they said, dignifies world literature, not only Canadian literature. And I think that sums up their feeling about the books that they read and their feeling about how wonderful Canadian authors and Canadian literature has become, and it's a wonderful thing. Well, I know you're all waiting to hear about the selection. That's what you've come for. But first of all, I'd like to introduce the Senior Vice President of Marketing for Scotiabank, Duncan Hannay, who has a few words to say, and I'd like to thank them openly and publicly for all the support they've given to this prize. Without them, I don't think it would have come to last 18 years. Duncan, thank you.
Anyways, thank you, Jack, for those kind words. That's probably just about all I needed to say, but it's my honor, and I'm certainly very proud to be here on behalf of Scotiabank today as we announce the shortlist finalists. Over the last 7 years of the Scotiabank Giller Prize, we've worked with Jack and Ilana to promote the nominees and the importance of Canadian literature. That's something we're very proud of, and through the Scotiabank Giller Prize, Canadians are becoming more and more aware of the rich contributions that writers make, and this is something that, as I said, we're very proud of. I hear the word rich being used a lot during the opening remarks, and as we like to say at Scotiabank, you're richer than you think, and I think this is really one of those examples. This year, as well, we're thrilled to have the CBC on board as our broadcast partner. The CBC has been a strong advocate of Canadian literature through their programming, and their partnership with the Scotiabank Giller Prize is really a great fit, so thank you to the CBC. On behalf of Scotiabank and Canadian fiction fans everywhere, I'd like to take a moment to congratulate the Rabinovich family on 18 years of this industry-leading award and their tribute to the late Doris Giller. In addition, I'd like to thank the judges for their hard work. Unbelievable when you think about it, really, in selecting today's shortlist finalists. And I'd like to congratulate, of course, the writers who've been selected as finalists in the 2011 Scotiabank Giller Prize.
It's now my privilege to introduce somebody who probably doesn't need any introduction, Kirsten Stewart, who is the Executive Vice President of the CBC. Before you come up, though, Kirsten, I would like to say it's been an absolute wonderful experience dealing with the CBC. They've already done a tremendous job on radio, highlighting everything, and that the word on the street, Jean Gomeshi, was fantastic in the way he introduced the long list and had a chorus or a group or panel highlighting what their feelings were. and there was a tremendous outbreak of applause for the Reader's Choice, who unfortunately may or may not have made the shortlist. But you should know that the CBC has been a tremendous asset to the Giller Prize already. And strange as it may seem, most people have different views of the CBC. But when Kirstine said that CBC was definitely interested, it took 2 short meetings for us to sign up and get this thing done. And I think she's been a wonderful champion of the prize. And so without further ado, Kirstine, would you come up?
And we do actually kind of feel like this is a bit of a family reunion. It's so great for the CBC and the Scotiabank Giller Prize to be back together again. We're pleased and thrilled, actually, that on November the 8th, we're going to be broadcasting the awards. As you know, Gian Gameshi is going to be host. And we will be broadcasting it live on CBC's Bold at 9 o'clock, and then we will again rebroadcast it at 11 o'clock on CBC Network. Now, in a bit of a twist, something a bit different than usual and what these new technologies can now give us the chance to do, we're also going to be live streaming the awards on CBC Books, and we're going to have a concurrent live chat. So all those smart and dedicated Canadians who are great book lovers, as Lyndon mentioned, are going to actually have the chance to get together while the prize is going on. If they can't be here at the Four Seasons, they get a chance to actually talk together and enjoy the prize in their own way. So that's going to be very exciting. You know, our commitment at CBC to books and literacy is well known. And you can see from the presence here of people like Lyndon and Gian, you know, we've been great supporters of books and literacy for years. We want to thank Jack, we want to thank Elena, and Scotiabank, of course, for championing the greatness of Canadian books and for shining a light on great Canadian authors. This is a true Canadian success story. And promoting Canadian talent is something that we at CBC are truly proud to be a part of. So congratulations to the shortlisted authors. Wish you well, and I'm sure you want to hear who those are. So I will leave you now and back to Jack. Thank you.
Well, I guess this is what everybody is here for. And you should meet the people who will have delivered the verdict on the shortlist, at least, and eventually on the winner. Howard Norman has a biography that reads like a small boy's fantasy, something out of Jack London, who lived and worked widely in remote parts of Canada, became involved and closely acquainted with the folk cultures of our Aboriginal peoples and our people from the Atlantic coast, and a lot of this has informed far too many books and various other projects for me to enumerate here. Simply to say that Howard now teaches at the University of Maryland and continues to write and continues to remain close to Canada and has just read 143 books. And Annabelle Lyon, whom I've known for a couple of years now. We all know Annabelle, born in Ontario but grew up and now lives in British Columbia. Written short stories and novellas, but is most famous for The Golden Mean, a spin-off from her philosophy studies in university. Unlike most of us, she didn't move away and forget about Aristotle and Socrates and the like, and she turned Aristotle into a central character in a book about Alexander the Great. And I couldn't help thinking back in 2009 that Alexander would be terribly proud of Annabelle for having conquered the 3 major, by at least in the nomination category, she qualified for 3 of the 3 primary book awards in this country, and she won one of them, the Writers' Trust Award. And all the way from Glasgow, Scotland, Andrew O'Hagan. Andrew has written for the London Review of Books. His work called Missing, I understand it's being adapted to stage by the director who did Black Watch. And anyone who has seen Black Watch will be looking forward to the dialogue that finally makes it to the stage in Missing. And Andrew had the awesome achievement of having been nominated for the Booker Prize for his first novel. And so without any further ado, I'm going to let the judges, I guess, do what everybody came to see them do and to hear them do, which is to unveil the 2011 Scotiabank Giller Shortlist.
The finalists for the 2011 Scotiabank Giller Prize are David Bezmozgis for his novel The Free World, published by HarperCollins Publishers Limited. This chronicle of the Krasnansky family, Soviet Jewish refugees, are stranded in Rome, has the strange immediacy of a family album where the photographs light up and start talking. The narrative is so often pulled backward in time, it evokes Shalom Aleicham's proverb that, quote, in Jewish thought, eternity resides in the past. But The Free World is also a very modern, very hip, intellectually intimate, electrically comic novel, all the while a passionate retelling of the most ancient sort of immigrant story, full of vicissitudes, nerve-wracking doubt, and unforeseen joys. David Bezmozgis has done the near impossible, given us a story with pointillist detail as well as historically operatic dimensions, a truly magical writer.
The second finalist, Lynn Cody, for her novel The Antagonist, published by House of Anansi Press. Lynn Cody's novel The Antagonist is perfectly titled. Its main character, Rank, is hassled, cajoled, and bullied by his hockey coach, classmates, and most relentlessly by his own outlandish lout of a father into becoming a nearly twisted psychopath. Yet deep down, he's nothing of the sort. In middle age, Rank discovers a secret novel written by his university friend, Adam, in which he is harshly depicted. Rank becomes a cyberstalker, trying to correct in emails all wrongful indictments set forth in the novel. This zany epistolary life comprises one of the most eccentric and memorable autobiographies you're likely to read. In this antagonistic tour de force, Ms. Cody shows us betrayal up close and personal. This author is a virtuoso of sympathetic edginess.
The third nominee is Patrick DeWitt for his novel The Sisters Brothers, published by the House of Anansi Press. If you fear that Canadian literary fiction is becoming mortally po-faced, Patrick DeWitt's The Sisters Brothers might be the perfect antidote. Combine equal parts slapstick, brutality, howling humor, and prose grace. Slug it back neat, brush your teeth for the first time ever with the bemused wonder of a hired assassin on a half-blind horse, and repeat. DeWitt has thrown the Western up in the air and brought it down new and strange and ferociously alive.
The fourth title is Essia Dugin's Half-Blood Blues, published by Thomas Allen Publishers. Imagine Mozart were a black German trumpet player and Salieri a bassist, and 18th century Vienna were World War II Paris. That's Essia Dugin's joyful lament, Half-Blood Blues. It's conventional to liken the prose in novels about jazz to the music itself, as though there could be no higher praise. In any case, say rather that any jazz musician would be happy to play the way Dugin writes. Her style is deceptively conversational and easy, but with the simultaneous exuberance and discipline of a true prodigy. Put this book next to Louis Armstrong's West End Blues, these two works of art belong together. The
fifth finalist is Juji Gartner for her short story collection, Better Living Through Plastic Explosives, published by Hamish Hamilton, Canada. Readers who doubt the modern world is grotesque and hilarious, heart-stopping and wild, may discover they are delighted with Juji Gartner's wonderful collection of stories, Better Living Through Plastic Explosives. From the specifications of covetable stereo equipment to the worries of the former terrorist, from the language of IKEA to gardening as warfare, this book shows the short story form at its savage best, each story capturing with brilliant economy and grace not only entire worlds, but whole mindsets as they explode into eloquence. Gartner is one of the supreme noticers in contemporary fiction, and with this book, she has produced a rare work of wisdom and laughter.
The final title for this year's shortlist is Michael Ondaatje for his novel A Cat's Table, published by McClellan and Stewart. A beautiful mingling of memory and imagination takes place in Michael Ondaatje's novel, The Cat's Table. It is the early 1950s, and a passenger ship, the Oronce, makes its way to England over the Indian Ocean and the Arabian Sea through the Suez Canal and the Mediterranean. On board is our 11-year-old narrator, Michael, who eats his meals at the unglamorous Cat's Table, where he joins a group of boys and adult eccentrics, all of whom have stories to tell and lives to live or live down. The journey will change them all in ways that only time will tell. A mature, shimmering work of fiction, Ondaatje's novel is rich in images, precise in its language, and wise about the way people can be haunted by their own experience.
So that's the list.
2011 Scotiabank Giller Prize shortlist, presented to you by the distinguished panel of judges. That brings to a conclusion I could go on talking, but I don't think anybody cares much anymore. And a lot of you have deadlines, and I just want to say thank you all for coming. There's a whole lot of people here that I can't see, but I can tell that the place is full. So thanks, everybody, for coming. On behalf of Jack and Alana and the judges, we're very grateful for helping to make this a success that will become much more exciting over the next month before the big prize on November the 8th. Thanks again to the judges who will be available for clip and interviews, comments, controversial and otherwise, at the end of this affair. Thank you very much.